No, it's not you, it's me. I almost forgot. Now we're recording.
Okay, welcome to the October 8th Plumbing Board meeting. And we have a quorum, so I guess we'll start with the approval of the last minutes, which were June 25th, I believe.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is that you, Jay?
That was Pete.
Pete, I'm sorry.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion and second that we accept the June 25th, 2020 Plumbing Board meeting. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Okay, comments or concern of any persons present today? If not, then we'll go to the DCP Investigation Division complaint status that Janita had sent us. Do we have any comments or questions on that? I guess not. Okay, so we will accept that as presented. Janita, do you have any questions or comments on that?
No, Mr. Bowman, I don't. I'm here if you all had the questions. So if they're hearing none, can I be excused, Mr. Chairman, Acting
Sure.
Chairman?
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Hamel? If not, Janita, have a nice day.
Bye, Janita.
Thank you all. Have a good long weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to old business. We have the well drilling and geothermal systems regulations.
I have a comment on that, excuse me. Julianne Avalone sent an email stating that she will not be attending today's meeting on this topic. But she asked that we inform you that they've been approved by OPM and are now pending review by the Governor's Council's office.
Okay, thank you for that update.
How long will that take on the governor's office, or no idea?
I don't know. I don't. Sorry.
Okay, moving along, application review working group. Do we have anything on that from Department of Labor?
We had a meeting yesterday, Chris, with Chuck and Todd Berch, and we went over plumbing related applications, and they were all sent back for more information because they didn't show both hands-on experience and school-related instruction. We did approve one applicant for, I believe it was a P6 license, but the other ones, they just lacked the information. They didn't have at least both on-the-job training and school-related instruction proof for us to consider equivalent experience in training.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Number 3, contractors not registering workers as apprentices. Any comments on that? Richard or Todd?
That pretty much says it all, doesn't it? I'd like to know the input of the board, exactly what your thought processes are, because this is a licensing problem and not an apprenticeship problem in the state of Connecticut, in our opinion.
Contractors need to be held more accountable when they get caught. Maybe you stop it, give them a bigger fine, do something.
I'm not sure who actually asked, Jay.
That was me. It was Jay.
Who actually put this question on the agenda today, Jay.
I don't know.
I don't disagree with you, but then again, my jurisdiction and what I do, I mean, the biggest slap on the wrist I could give any contractor of any occupation is suspend their apprenticeship program. Well, if they don't have one in the first place and have unregistered apprentices, it's kind of an issue. And there seems to be contrary language in statute. And again, I'm going out of my box here. Seems to be contrary language in statute for Department of Consumer Protection, where one says you shall not work in the occupational field unless you are A, licensed, or B, registered as an apprentice. Yet, for licensable occupations that you guys and the other boards have, the statute states to be eligible to go take a licensing exam, you either complete an apprenticeship program or B, experience in the field. So there seems to be a little bit of a contradicting type of conversation going on with regard to what I guess, quote unquote, apprentices are, and then also what the contractors are supposed to be doing. So it's an issue out there. Again, I don't have an apprenticeship problem. It appears that there's a licensing problem in the state of Connecticut. I've posed that to some staff at DCP in the past, and someone threw this on the agenda today, but I just want to reinforce what I'm hearing from contractors themselves to the fact that union and non-union are losing work to those that are unlicensed.
Yep. Absolutely. It's across the board. Doesn't matter who you are. It's happening in small residential areas. It's happening in condominiums. It's happening in large scale buildings. It's running rampant in Connecticut.
Yes, this board is the forum for that discussion of what I'm hearing it from a lot of contractors. So
Yeah.
I don't know if the board wishes to entertain as further action.
Can I speak for why it's on the agenda? This was a conversation that we had at the February 6th meeting, and I believe I was told to carry it over. So if this is something that shouldn't, that the board doesn't want carried over, just let me know. Either way, I think maybe the intention was to continue discussing it, but it does not. I'll just need to know whether to put it on the next agenda or not. There wasn't anything specific for today on this topic.
Well, we've been talking about this for years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a habitual problem. It's not
One
changing.
at a time, please. One at a time. Melissa? Go ahead, Melissa.
That's all I had to say.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I was agreeing with her. It's a habitual problem. It's not going away. It's consistent. It's across the board. It's not fair and it's not right. I mean, I look at certified payrolls all the time, and it's unfortunate. It's not right. I mean, everyone's getting undercut by people not supplying registered apprentices or even journeymen. I mean, I have lists of jobs that don't even have licensed journeymen on it. The Excel Center is I don't want to get into it, but irregardless, we know it's a habitual problem.
Okay. Can we bring it up at the next meeting and have somebody from Consumer Protection? Because obviously there is an issue. There's an issue between small companies, big companies, union, non-union, and it seems like there's some type of issue with the wordage. It's either register or on-the-job training. Is there something that we can do, or does Consumer Protection have to bring it forward?
Well, it looks like Janita's gone. She was here in the beginning, so.
Yes, she did leave the meeting.
It falls under her. So I say we keep it on. I mean, I agree with Todd that he's doing what he can do, and it's really up to the employer. So I think it falls back on the DCP, doesn't it? I mean, as enforcement.
I agree with you, Melissa. It's not Todd's issue. I mean, he's not doing it. It's the contractors.
Right.
They need to be held liable. They need to be held liable for what they're doing.
Is there a way, well, I don't know about putting a new law in or raising the penalties against the contractors that aren't doing that, or is that something Rich would have to, or somebody?
It falls under enforcement. It has to be, someone has to go out there
and go out and
enforce.
Catch them. You got to see them do it. That's the problem. But I mean, if the fines were instead of $1,000, $2,000 or something, or $2,500, hit them stiffer, and so they would think twice about not signing up or apprentice
or you could take away their contractor's license.
That too. Do both. I mean,
and then you're really
out. Contractors out, and they're out of luck.
We've talked about this before. I mean, if you get caught a couple of times, you lose your driver's license, whether it's
right.
Yeah.
Right. That's an issue. And then also, Todd, I know this isn't you because you're apprenticeship, not DOL, but years ago I had talked to Gary Pesci and even Risa, that's how long ago it's been, about cross-reporting. So if the DOL's on a site, I think that had gotten better. I'm not sure if they're reporting to the DCP. I'd heard years ago the two departments didn't talk to each other, but I thought that had changed. Do you know if that, and I know you're not DOL, Todd, but is that something that happens?
Yeah, I don't know if that does. That would be between our wage and hour division and somebody at Department of Consumer Protection. And I don't know where those discussions are or have been in the past.
Richard, do you know?
No, I don't know, because that would be worked out with Pam Brown in enforcement.
All I'm thinking is if they're on a job site anyway, and they're all state employees, why aren't, that would be an easy way to tag team, but anyway.
They've had joint investigations on job sites before together.
Okay.
So I don't know what Pam Brown may have in the works. She's the director of the enforcement division.
Okay.
Aaron, can we ask that Pam Brown be here at the next meeting to discuss this further?
Yep.
If that's an agreement with everybody.
Sure.
Vinny's got a question.
Go ahead, Vinny.
Morning. Melissa's right. The wage and workplace was given DCP information when they found, as Mr. Berch points out, the real issue is about not being licensed. It's not about being not registered. There's no penalty for not being registered per se, unless wage and workplace can enforce something on David's Bacon issues. So the apprenticeship office is not an enforcement office, it's more a regulatory office. DCP, wage and workplace are enforcement offices. So when they were at least sharing the information, it was more active. But I think the idea of tabling it and getting people a chance to prepare better at the next meeting and try to come up with some solutions to these bad actors that are hurting everybody across the board by misclassifying, misusing, it's really ultimately to me an issue of not being licensed. Sure, you're not registered, that's of course, but you're still not licensed. In order to work in these trades in the state of Connecticut, you either have a license or an apprentice registration in lieu of, but the enforcement to me should be coming from DCP, the fines to the individual and the employer.
Agree.
Thanks, Vinny. Anybody else?
Chairman,
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman,
right here.
Aaron, Paulette?
Paulette.
I'm
Hi,
sorry.
guys. That's okay. I just want to understand what the issue is, because I'm a little unclear as to what this issue is. So let me articulate what I think I understand, and if someone can just say yay or nay. So the issue that I'm understanding is that there are contractors that are employing unregistered apprentices. Is that the issue?
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
And so the concern, I mean, clearly the law is very clear that they should be registered. So concern is that it continues to occur. And there's a concern that from the enforcement perspective that something more should be done in order to stop this violation from occurring. Is that it?
Correct.
Correct.
So, and I think we're all on the same page that with the memo of understanding with all the boards that we do have specifically we specifically have as a first offense of 500 to 1,000. No, it's 1,000 per person for unlicensed or unregistered apprentices. So we do have that, and I guess, and we'll have Pam speak to it at the next meeting, but I think I understand what the issue is. And I mean, the law, personally, I don't think changing the statute is the answer, because I think that the statute is very clear as to that it's a violation and that there are ways to go about the enforcement aspect, whether it's civil penalty. I'd have to look at the statute again with respect to whether we can do suspension, revocation, et cetera, of the contractor's license. But it's all in the statute. It's just a matter, I think, of, the case is getting reported and moving through the case flow, getting to legal, that kind of thing. So that's my input.
Yes, Jay.
I think one of the issues is the value to the contractor is more than the fine. To utilize unregistered people or unlicensed people is more valuable than the fine is, if that makes sense. They make more money in profit using unlicensed and unregistered people versus the fine. So if they had to pay $1,000 per person, but they got away with it on 10 jobs, the profit that they made off the backs of the workers is far greater than the fine. So the penalty needs to be more severe, like losing your contractor's license. That would be a severe penalty for not following the state law.
And again, I'd have to check the statute, but I think for enforcement, there's probably the suspension revocation penalty in our license, in our statutes for that. But I think it's a matter of, these cases being reported. I mean, I think I understand, like, people scatter like, cockroaches, ants, whatever, when they know that.
It's true.
Pardon me, this is being recorded. I just call people cockroaches. And so it's hard sometimes to catch them, right? And so we'll see what Pam's response is, because I think that's part of the issue, is being able to catch them. Because if someone reports it and you go to the location and there isn't anybody there, you don't have a case. I mean, as an attorney, if I don't have evidence, I'm not bringing forth that case. It's a loser case. So, yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Thank you very much. Moving on to new business. Online continuing education and extensions of completing of the classes. Melissa, how is your group doing?
I don't know. I actually haven't spoken to Marcy for a while. I'm trying to survive myself. I think that they're doing okay. I think that, they're working around it, and they're doing okay. So they're complying with all the guidelines. I mean, it seems like they're fine, but honestly, I can't speak for them.
Vinny? 777, how they doing?
Morning. We've been hosting the classes, capping at 20. That's about the space that we can hold with the rules. Today, the rules do allow for more people in the building, but again, just with our landscape, we'll do 20, 25. We're booked right through December each Saturday. So, we're doing the classes. I think this being the P1 year, it's a little more manageable. In the spring, the P2s become more eligible, but hopefully things will improve by the summer and the fall, and we'll be back full capacity in person. So we're holding our own, I would say.
Good, good. I know I went to a continuing education class down in Danbury. There was 21 people, and I think it went pretty smooth. And talking to the instructor, likewise, they're full right through December. And it seems that more people are aware of it and more people are doing it this year, because I think because the word got out that we did we checked past years and who did take it, who didn't take it. And I think the word got out. So a lot of the people are deciding, well, okay, I better do it so I don't get caught in that program again. Okay, let's move on. Anybody else got anything else?
Chris?
Yes.
Just as far as the Connecticut Water Well Association,
I'm sorry, George.
they're having a class on, let me see, October 13th in Farmington for the J license. And that's set up to go, and Bob McCormick's the head of that, handling that paperwork from Barlow Plumbing. So
Okay, so your group is finding more participation too?
It's 6 of one, half dozen of another.
Okay.
It's about the best way to put it.
Okay, somebody else had their hand up and I missed them.
It was me, but I was gonna ask about, it was a similar question to George's, so I'm all set.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes,
Quick
Karen?
comment before you move on. Again, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but yourself or maybe somebody from the board, I'm keeping my eye on attendees, which is if you click panelists, it's on the, or participants, it's on the right-hand side. That means that somebody's come in and is joining us, and I don't know, whenever the appropriate time would be, whether it's now or during comments and concerns, let me know if and when you want to address, or when you want to address the person here.
Sure.
And I can allow him to talk.
Okay, Vinny?
Mr. Chairman, just want to make a note.
Excuse me, Vinny, can you get to the mic a little closer?
I just talk a little louder. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Yeah, when we're signing people in, I'm having the instructors take attendance. No one's allowed to leave the building versus passing paperwork and pens around. We're doing everything pretty no touch. We know everybody, or we ask them to show their ID to identify them. Check them in, check them out, just to minimize the touch points.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Karen, if we have an attendee that has a question, I guess we can take care of it now.
Okay, it looks like the name I see here is Scott Beanie. Can you hear us, Scott? He's on mute right now. So I don't know if
Right.
you see that or not. Sometimes people will just check in to observe. So
Okay.
I was just checking in to observe.
There we are.
you are,
Welcome,
okay,
Scott.
okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Anybody else, Karen?
No, that's it.
Okay. Any correspondence?
No, there's not.
Okay. Comments or concern of anybody present today? Jay, anything?
No, I'm good.
Jay Moore to second, anything?
No, Chris, I'm good.
Vinny? Good? George, any concerns?
None.
Paulette? No? Okay. Melissa?
No,
Joyce?
Nothing from me.
Okay. Todd?
All set, thank you.
Richard?
All set.
Okay. Karen, our next meeting is November 5th? Is that correct?
It's November, yeah, it is November 5th. And I just wanted to check before we wrap it up, if there was a potential item that he may have wanted to add going into the 2021 year for continued education. Are we just, would we be discussing this, Richard, or we're gonna wait on that?
Well, that was one of the questions to the board. Would the board be in favor of doing online education into the 2021 year? So what are the board's thoughts? What is the board's thoughts on that? To continue online education for 2021 year?
Okay, we can, Melissa?
I have a question. I think that everyone's trying to figure out what's going on for 2021. I know a lot of the large corporations are coming back into their offices in March. Some of them are April. I think once we get through flu season, I know that some of the universities are going online after that, I guess because of flu season. So, I mean, I guess it's something to consider based on what trends are, but now we have a reopening plan. So I don't know the answer. I mean, I guess, you know, Joyce is at Wesleyan and you guys have different things, and the state universities are going online until I think spring break is over. And are we bound by the state reopening plan? I guess is my question. That's it.
I don't know, but we'll have to get we'll get the answer for the next meeting. Vinny?
I didn't realize, was there a sundown on the online?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you, Vinny.
Is there a sundown on the online training that it can't go beyond the new year? Is that the issue?
I believe right now it's December 31st of 20, but I think there is some talk about extending it through next year, depending on what the governor comes up with in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Unless Richard or somebody else has a different take on it.
Can I ask a question? Since our next meeting is November, we
Yes,
probably
Joyce.
should be prepared. I would think that we should be prepared at the November meeting to make the determination, at least for the first half of next year. And based on what I know from the university planning, we're anticipating the first half of next year to look very much like this fall. So we might want to give ourselves the extension till at least July 1st.
Okay, thank you, Joyce.
Chris?
Richard, go ahead.
So this is just to get the board's opinion on whether or not you would like to see continuing education online continued into 2021 year. In order to have continuing education online, it had to be an executive order from the governor, because our current statutes and regulations only allow classroom instruction. So it's just, and likewise, the question is going to be asked of the electrical board to see if they feel that continuing education online should be extended into the 2021 year.
Okay.
And then at least the commissioner will have the input from the two boards and present a case to the governor if need be.
Okay, thank you. I would think that for the next meeting, we should have our ideas. Maybe each group that we have that is running the code classes or continuing education classes, give us some feedback and some input at the next meeting so that we can make a decision whether or not we have to ask for an extension of the governor's office until July, as Joyce is telling us that her school is doing online until at least July of next year, so that we can have some good feedback and some interaction about this. Is that fair?
That sounds correct.
And Chris, if I could just clarify one thing. Our school is doing predominantly remote work from home, if you can. So for activities that you can continue to do remotely, we're allowing those, but we are allowing some in-person instruction, just like you heard today, for smaller groups with certain spacing requirements. I just want to be clear on that.
Okay, thank you, Joyce, for that. Anybody else? Melissa, you're good with that?
Yeah.
Checking with your group?
Sure.
Vinny, I saw the thumb up with Vinny. Okay. I see we have a couple new people here. Welcome, Jerry. Welcome, Howard.
Yeah, so Howard, I believe, is observing, and Jerry just joined us, so I don't know if Jerry has any input or if he's just visiting.
Okay. If there's nothing else to come before the board, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you very much. We will see everybody November 5th.
All right, bye.
Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Take care.